Hey, everybody. This is Mother Teresa coming to you live from Caldwell Manor. Today is Tuesday. It's 7 o'clock. Actually, it's 7:01. And it's time for grandstanding. For those of you all who are typically with me on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock, you know that we normally start out a little bit with some theme music that was written especially for me by my grandson, TJ Culpepper. And so I always want to give a shout out to TJ and thank him for my theme music, which I absolutely love. But I also want to say thank you for those that are joining me live and for those that are going to be listening to the replay. And normally what we do on grandstanding, we just kind of chit chat and I drop some pearls of wisdom with you or for you. Typically I would come from my Conversations from a Mother's Heart, and which is a journal that I have written. And I typically will come from one of the chapters that are there, but I just wanted to state that on tonight, I wanted to pick up where I left off on Monday morning. For those of you all who actually participate with me on Monday mornings for the Monday morning motivation, typically I drop a little bit of wisdom and encouragement along the way so you can get your week started. And as you're getting your week started, hello there, Sister Sherry, and everyone else who's joining me on tonight. As you are getting your week started, I try to give you all just some words of encouragement because guess what? Most of the time, people will say that Mondays are the absolute hardest days of their week. And it's typically because they're coming back from the weekend, whether it's a long weekend or a short weekend. And I had one person to tell me, now we just came off of a 5-day fall break. And one of the young ladies that I was talking to on Monday, she said, Miss Caldwell, it just wasn't enough time. And I absolutely agree with her. It's not enough time. It seems like the more time they give us off, the more time we want off. And I had to follow up and tell her, but I absolutely love my job. So it's not that I don't want to get back to my work. It's just that we enjoy being able to have some downtime. So the Monday morning motivations are typically to kind of get you revved up, to kind of get you in the mood, to let you know that whatever the week is going to bring for you, that you are more than a conqueror, that you can conquer your week, and also to, hopefully put you on a path where you are ready to tackle anything that comes your way. And I just know that you all are more than conquerors, that you can absolutely do it. So on tonight, I just wanted to just follow back up with what I was discussing on Monday. Remember, I said that sometimes we need to have crucial conversations with ourselves. We need to have conversations that sometimes are a little bit difficult. And you all know that there are some times that we can get ourselves, and I use the word entanglement, which is a term that people we heard made famous. And I'm not talking about that type of entanglement. Oh, somebody is waving back there. Look, can you all see the hand wave back there? Okay, I'm not going to... Oh, he's giving kisses. He's saying, hello, grandstanders. Maybe we could convince him to come and actually sit in the chair beside me. All right, so the entanglements are things that, like I said, it was a term that was made famous, and I'm not talking about that type of entanglement. What I am actually talking about is sometimes we can get ourselves connected to certain things or certain people, and it's not necessarily something that we really want to be involved in, but sometimes there is no way out of it, or we feel as if there is no way out of it. I saw somebody's face and I could not make it out, But hello, everybody. I couldn't make out your face or I would shout you out. I know my family members are here, but it was another face that I saw that I wasn't quite sure. So, hey, if you would just say hello there, Mother Teresa, so I know exactly who you are. Okay? So the entanglements, again, sometimes we can find ourselves in situations that we're trying to figure out. First of all, how did I get myself in this situation? And now that I'm in this situation, how do I get myself out of it? And sometimes there are things that will happen in our lives or situations or propositions that come in our lives, and it seems like it is the absolute answer to our prayer. And I know that my mom can say, that's right. Okay, hey, Mom. It seems like it is the absolute answer to our prayer. It may have been something that you have been praying about for a long time, and you have been patiently waiting. And you've been patiently waiting for a situation or a circumstances to present itself. And rather than praying about it or waiting to see if it's all that it is cracked up to be or supposed to be, we just pounce on it. And when we pounce on it, it seems like we are comfortable at first because it's like, oh, this is what I've been waiting on. This is what I've been waiting on. So we pounce on it or we get ourselves involved, and before long, you begin to feel uncomfortable in that situation. You begin to say, oh, this doesn't feel like I thought it was supposed to feel. Or it's not giving me everything that I thought it was supposed to give me. Or it's not doing for me what I thought it was supposed to do for me. And so, but then we're kind of stuck. We're kind of stuck. And because we are stuck in that situation, or so it appears to be that we're stuck. So hold on to that thought. It appears to be that we are stuck in that situation. And so we kind of linger in it, and we just kind of feel like, okay, I've gotten myself in this situation. This is what I thought that was all that it was supposed to be, but now it's not. So what do? And I know that I am not the only one who has been in that situation. If you've been in that situation, show me some stars, some likes, some hearts, some angry faces. I saw an angry face earlier. Show me that you've been in this situation, because again, like I said, I know that I am not the only person who's been in that situation. And so, and what happens is then we begin to start trying to see, how do we get ourselves out of that situation? How do we then manipulate, or I don't want to say manipulate, but sometimes it is. How do we maneuver? That's the word I was trying to say. How do we maneuver ourselves out of that situation that we thought was our blessing, that we thought was our answer to our prayer? And for those that don't pray, but this, you know, you just may have been like, this is something that I want, this is something that I need, and you just jump into it. Okay, I'm not naive enough to think that everybody prays about every situation, but I really hope that you are. So what do? How do you get yourselves out of those situations? And hey, in the chat, if somebody has been in that situation, tell me, hey, put your hand up, let me know. What did you do? How did you get yourself out of that situation? Well, let me just tell you, and I can raise both hands and I can say I've been in that situation. And sometimes it is making a purchase. Sometimes, you can, and I'm going to use an example for me with my car. My car that I currently have now, I wanted a new car. And of course, my husband was like, okay, we're going to buy a new car. We're going to get this, and we're going to, we're going to make sure that it is large enough to hold all of our grandchildren. Of course, somebody didn't get the memo that it was only for 7 kids and not for 8 or 9 kids. So, but anyway, So and thank God for all of my grandkids. I love them all. We figure out a way to make sure that we can transport them. But one of the things about the seat in my car is that I did not realize how to let my seat up. Now, that's a very basic thing. I did not realize how to let my seat up. So I was soon becoming, I did not like my car. Now, it was a brand new car, but because I could not, hey, Tina, and hey, Miracle, I see you here tonight, and Teddy, I could not get that seat adjusted. So I began to not like my car. And let me just tell you, the first time that I took my car, I was taking it over for, I think, Net to see my car. And because the seat was so low, I wound up hitting like a boulder. And I just got my car, but I couldn't see over the steering wheel. And so, and I put pillows in there and everything. Hello there, Dr. Babin. I put pillows and everything in my seat so I could raise my seat up. Now, let me just tell you that there is a problem with that. If you're having to raise yourself up, and this is all also, I can tie it into some spiritual principles. If you're having to raise your seat up because you cannot see comfortably in a car that you're driving, there is a problem with that. But the thing about it is that my seat could actually raise up, and it took me probably several months before I realized how to do it, how to fix it. But in the meantime, I was beginning to doubt my decision about the car. It was like, okay, I bought the wrong car. This is not the right thing for me. And although I love the car, it was just that one thing. And it was so funny the way that I realized how to adjust the seat is that I was riding with another coworker that had the exact same car. And when I got in the passenger seat, it was high and lifted up. And so, and when I got in her car and I was asking her, I said, why is your seat so much higher than mine? And she said, well, you can just adjust it. I said, I have tried everything to adjust my seat and I can't figure it out. Well, she showed me how to adjust my seat. And from then on, of course, we laughed about it, but from then on, I started liking my car. Now let's back up a little bit. And where I was talking about is that sometimes we can find ourselves in situations where we're not necessarily comfortable. And because we're not necessarily comfortable, we have to do some self-talk. We have to talk to ourselves and we have to realize, hello there, Beth. We have to realize that we've got to make some changes. But then how do you swivel and make that transition? First of all, did you have a conversation about why you are in that situation in the first place? Okay, remember I said sometimes we jump too fast and we move too fast and we don't consult God. We don't have a conversation with maybe our spouse, our significant other. We don't have those conversations about, hey, what it is that we really, really want and what are the outcomes that we're expecting to get because we are, yeah, Daddy. Oh, Candace, they can hear you in the kitchen, honey. My husband is in the kitchen cooking dinner. So they're saying they can hear you. That's okay, you all. This is okay. It's live and this is grandstanding and this is all about what happens in Mother Teresa's house. And guess what? After we're done with this, we got to have dinner. So my husband is doing exactly what he should be doing. He's rattling those pots and pans. So listen, if you do not stop and consult, first of all, God, and consult your spouses about the decisions that you are making or that you're trying to make, you might fall into a situation where you have some regrets, okay? But then also, let's take it a little bit deeper and a little bit personal. What about when you make some decisions that really is dealing with you and just your whole being, and you've made some decisions and you realize that, hey, this is not good for either my health or it's not good for me emotionally. It's not good for me spiritually. It's not good for me to be in this situation. what do you do? Okay? What do you do? Sometimes when I think back about Elder Henderson and some of the teachings that he taught us years and years ago, which was our foundation. And he talked about making sure that we pray about everything, that we consult God about everything. And one of the things that he talked about is that when you're getting married, when you're seeking a mate, okay? And he said, and a lot of times what happens is that maybe our eyes deceive us because the person may be, this good looking, person. And I think he would always give like a description of like the man or description of the woman or whatever. And he was saying that a lot of times we fall in love with that and not necessarily the person, not necessarily we're falling in love with what we can see physically, but we haven't gotten to know that person. We haven't had a chance to talk to them and find out, are we compatible? Are we, do we think the same? Or were we raised up the same or similar? Are our beliefs some of the same? And I know you're not going to find a person that's exactly like you, but hopefully you will find a person that is compatible to you, someone whose upbringing may have been the same as yours. Your beliefs about money are the same. Your beliefs about spending, your beliefs about saving, your beliefs about how to raise your children, your beliefs about, how do you spend the holidays? Some things that's as simple as that. Your beliefs about how do you keep your household, different things like that. Have you had a conversation with that person? Or if you did not, then guess what? Later on down the road, you may find yourself thinking that, hey, I made a terrible decision. Okay. And then what do? What do you do about that situation after you have gotten involved and you've married a person and then there's nothing in common? There's nothing in common. But that is a very extreme circumstances. But what are some of the other things that we need to have a crucial conversation with ourselves about? Again, like I said, it can be from the most basic things to some of the things that are really could be life changing. And like I said, some of the things that we've gotten involved with, entanglements or circumstances that when we're in those circumstances, now it's like, now what do I do? Now what do I do? Now what they say, now how do I handle this? How do I back myself out of this situation without losing my sanity, without really hurting or harming, the people that I love that are in my life, without burning bridges that I may need to cross back over those bridges. How do we do those things? I would say we do them very carefully, and we do it after much prayer and much thought. Okay, because I do believe that for everything that we're involved in, or that we can get ourselves in. Hello there, Wynn. That Teddy said, Mama. Okay, Teddy. How do we, when I saw that, I kind of lost my train of thought. How do we then back ourselves out of that out of these situations without hurting people? And again, like I said, I know that we can get ourselves out of those situations because God always gives us a way of escape if you want to escape. And, and I take that literally. I take that if there is a situation where you have found yourself in and you realize that, hey, this is not a good fit for me. This is not a good fit for me. I used to tell my girls, and I'm going to deviate a little bit. I used to tell my girls when they were younger, and I also told my son that if someone is asking you to do something, hey, Miracle, you believe that? If somebody is asking you, a friend is asking you to do something that you do not necessarily want to participate in, all you have to do is say, my mama or my daddy or my parents will not allow me to do that. My parents would not allow me to go these places. My parents would not allow me to participate in that. My parents won't allow this, or my parents won't allow that. Blame it on us. That is your way of escape. Because sometimes when kids don't necessarily want to do something, they just feel like they are pressured into doing it, and they do it simply because they don't want to seem like the oddball or whatever term that you all are using these days. That's what they don't want to necessarily feel like. So they go ahead and they participate. They go ahead and they start vaping. They go ahead and they start smoking. They go ahead and they start slipping out of the house. They start doing all of these things, showing up at parties that they know they have no business doing, or drinking, or doing any type of things, shoplifting, going into the store and you're, being initiated into something, and they, dare you to steal something. And so you find yourself doing those types of things that, first of all, that's not who you are, but because you don't want to be singled out, you do it anyway. So like I said, I would tell my children, tell your friends that my parents don't allow that. And that is your way of escape. Now, as an adult, there are ways that you can get out of certain things that if you don't want to necessarily be a part of. And one of the things that I know that, people live a certain life and they do believe in certain things and they don't believe in certain things. So sometimes when you're invited to a gathering, and that gathering may be a little bit more on the side where it makes you uncomfortable. Let's just put it like that. Because there may be certain activities that they're doing that you don't necessarily do. And so you don't want to necessarily be a part of that. Well, guess what? There are ways of escape, okay? And I'm not going to say you have to be untruthful about it, but there is a way of escape for any of those situations. So you just have to learn how to make sure that you are covering yourself. And long story short, when I was talking what I was talking about on Monday about having hard conversations with ourselves, sometimes we can find ourselves in situations, and rather than saying, you know what, I feel like I need to make some changes or do some things a little bit differently, because we felt like we've kind of gotten ourselves stuck, we just stay stuck. And you don't have to stay stuck. There are ways that you can make changes, and sometimes those changes have to be, they can be subtle, or they can be, gradual changes. Some things you don't have to just jump out and just say, okay, I'm going to stop this, I'm going to stop that. You may have to make some gradual changes. Sister Sherry said, when I moved to Houston and into my first apartment, I didn't do my homework. I chose an apartment because it was cheap and fit my budget. Come to find out, it was in the wrong part of town. There were drugs being sold there by my neighbors. And here I was, a single woman living alone. Had I done my homework, I could have found a nicer apartment that was in my price range. All I can say is the Lord kept me safe from all hurt, harm, and danger. And when my lease was up, I did my homework and moved into, my things shut off. Moved into, I think she said, a different place. Hold on, you all. Hold on, I missed that. Let's see. I'm trying to find her comments. Okay. I moved into a much nicer apartment, but where she did not have to feel unsafe. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that is one of the things that I'm talking about, is that when we make mistakes, or when we find ourselves in situations like that, Sister Sherry, and thank you so much for sharing. When you find yourself in situations like that, it's best to take a step back. I say count up the calls, do your homework, like Sister Sherry said. Do your homework and figure out what you actually need that's going to be the best for you. Hello there, Sister Erica, and yes, hello there, Sister Erica. So when you do that, because she could have just stayed there. And sometimes, she said a really good thing about cheap is not always the best. And that is absolutely correct. Cheap is not always better, because sometimes, let me just tell you, if you pay a little bit extra money, that is worth having a peace of mind. Having a peace of mind where she don't have to worry about her surroundings and, people doing all kinds of things that are right there, around her. So that is great advice. So thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share before we leave? I just want you all to know that crucial conversations, and we talk about this in the workplace, crucial conversations are crucial, but they're also hard. But a lot of times when you have these hard conversations, it's necessary. And another thing that we often say, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. So if we're clear when we're talking with one another, I'm showing you kindness. But if I'm giving you a lot of, kind of a roundabout way, or I'm not being so clear to you, really I'm being unkind, because I could be setting you up for failure, or we could be setting each other up for failure. And especially like when the workplace, we need everybody to be, cordial. We need everybody to pitch in and do what they need to do so we can get the job done. The same thing goes with our families, you all, is that we have to be clear and we have to be kind to our families. Because I can tell you this, and this is what my whole foundation is based on. It's all about family. It's all about making sure that we are taking care of family and we're doing what's best for our family. We can go out into the world and we can do all these great things outside of our home, but if we're not taking care, of home, then we've missed the mark. We missed the mark. The older people, the older saints and the mothers in the church, they used to say your first ministry is at home. Your first ministry is with your own children, with your own spouse, and with your own family. So you take care of your family. You take care of your people that God has blessed you to call family. And when we have to have those crucial conversations with ourselves, sometimes we got to have some crucial conversations within our families. And that's what it's all about, you all. Don't be afraid to have those crucial conversations with yourself, and don't be afraid to have those crucial conversations with your family members. Because remember what I said, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. Listen, you all, I have enjoyed grandstanding with you all on tonight. And as I often say, I am so very thrilled that you all just set aside a few minutes of your time on a Tuesday night to just kind of see what I'm going to be talking about. And when I am on here and I'm talking, don't think that I'm trying to tell you all what to do. I'm only making a suggestion. And guess what? You can take it or you can leave it, because what works for me in this household, it may not. Oh my goodness. Oh, look who is actually on. Look who is actually joining me. You don't have anything to say, honey. Oh my goodness. Listen, at least he showed his face. Hello there, Sister Melissa. At least he showed his face. Maybe the next time I can actually get him to sit down with me and let's talk about something. Tell you that our story, it is a story. Again, we started dating when we were 14 years old. You heard that right, 14. We are now 60 years old. We have been married for 40 years. And it hasn't always been it hasn't always been on the mountaintop. It hasn't always been on the mountaintop. We've had our valley experiences, But let me tell you, the mountaintops definitely outweighed those valley experiences. And after 40 years of being married, God has tremendously blessed our union. And let me just tell you, I would like to share. Miracle said, hello there, Uncle Boris. I would like to share with you all some of the things and some of the ways that Boris and I have made it for 40 years. And so it may be a blessing to some. It may be inspiration to others. And for others, you might say, how in the world could you stay married to one person for 40 years? It's by prayer. It is by prayer. And I believe that God put us together. And I believe he intends for us to stay together. And so at 60 years old, listen, I am where I want to be. I'm not being made to be here. I am here because I enjoy being married to that man who was sneaking around in the background over there. And because I enjoy being married to my husband, I feel like God blesses and he honors the love that we have for one another. Not only does he bless and honor the love that we have for one another, but he allows us to be able to share that with other people. And as a family, if you know anything about my family, we are a family of givers. And it didn't start just yesterday. This is what we have done down through the years. We were blessed to be able to give and blessed to be able to share and model that with our children. So our children are givers and they have seen us in action. We've taken them out when we are doing different projects down through the years. We didn't just sit back and we were the only ones that were going out into the communities and doing things. We took our children with us. And so all of that is a part of our story, our story. So again, if I can get him to come on with me and we can share a little bit more of our story, then hopefully I'll be able to do that. All right, everybody, it has been grandstanding with you all on tonight. And as my sister Cynthia would say, goodbye, grandstanders. Thank you all for joining us on tonight. It has been really nice grandstanding with you all. I hope you all have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your week. And not only enjoy the rest of your week, but also just remember that if you need to have a crucial conversation with yourself or your family, please go ahead and do that. That is something that if you can do, then I guarantee you it will make a difference in your life, and not just your life, but it'll also make a difference in the lives of those that are connected with you. Because remember, as I close, that clear is kind and unclear is unkind. All right? You all have a great night on tonight. Bye-bye, everybody. Y'all have a great night. Bye-bye, everybody.